What's going on YouTube? So pretty much the Los Angeles Clippers got a got a got a win against the Portland Trail Blazers. The Blazers pretty much did not have any of their stars, but like they've still managed to fight pretty hard, especially with Yusuf Nurkic going off, dropping 30 plus points. But thankfully, thankfully, it was not a another Jonas Valanciunas type situation because we all know that was incredibly painful for pretty much every single Clippers fans. But anyway, so in the first half, pretty much mainly the first half, we pretty much started off really sloppy. What I mean by really sloppy, I mean in terms of defense, turnovers, pretty much everything in general, especially on our defensive end, because I mean Nurkic should not be dropping like 30 plus points. I get it, you're bound to have good nights, but I mean a lot of players they were making a good amount of shots on the Blazers side. So and not to forget Damon, CJ McCollum, Nazir Little, and who I forgot. I think Larry Nance didn't play, so the Clippers should have blown the Portland Trailblazers out tonight. But again, a win is a win. By the same time, though, it did show a decent amount of Clippers' weaknesses, in my opinion. And one thing is having a really consistent, more like a really mobile rim protecting big. Because I'm not gonna lie to y'all, if Ika Zubac last night tonight, it was not his game. He pretty much he was food basically. Like I'm not trying to not trying to say anything, but I mean like he did pretty poorly against Jonas Valanciunas, and he did pretty poorly with Yusuf Nurkic. But but again, like I think that what Tyloo could have done is he could have played definitely more minutes to Serge Ibaka, because when Serge played like briefly, he actually played um, pretty much the rim protection got a lot better. Less players were getting to the rack. Meanwhile, when Zubac was playing, players were pretty much, you know, getting inside the paint a lot more often. While Serge Ibaka, he was really switchable. Like he kind of started guarding a little bit out of the paint, then he quickly switched back into the pretty much to protect the rim. So that's one weaknesses that was kind of exposed. But again, it's one game. But we did lose to the Sacramento Kings, which is I did not make a video about. But I mean, it was just because Terrence Davis just went off. But I mean, but this game it did show a lot of the Clippers' weaknesses. But again, I'm sure it could definitely be fixed. But I'm gonna talk about some players. I mean, Paul George. I'm not gonna lie, his offensive side, like he was struggling. Like he scored like what 5 points in the first half, and then but thankfully during crunch time, he actually kind of like raised the Clippers' momentum by having some nice layups. Like especially he had a really good take that definitely helped a lot with the Clippers, and he kind of shut down the Portland Trail Blazers' momentum. And Serge Ibaka was pretty good. He pretty much did his job. He did really good in terms of protecting the rim. I mean, unlike what Zubac did, because like I said, he did really good against the Lakers. He didn't. He wasn't the worst against the Sacramento Kings. It's just Terrence Davis went off. But today, it was one of Zubac's big off days, and it kind of shows, like, it kind of shows the inconsistency of Ivica Zubac. But I just wish, like I said, if Zubac can get consistent on defense, play good defense and all stuff, like I'm sure we would definitely win a lot more games. But it is what it is, and then we're gonna talk about Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson, I believe scored like 15 or 16 points, which is that's pretty solid. He made some timely layups. I believe he made some timely threes. He did his thing. Reggie Jackson was key for our scoring, and also Luke Kennard. Like ever since Luke Kennard, balled out against the Lakers, he's been on a run again. He's been doing pretty good. And Luke, I kind of have a little roller coaster with him, but lately what Luke's been showing me is he's showing that he's a really, really, really key piece for the Clippers. He's a really highly efficient Clippers shooter. Um, he shows he showed that he could be somewhat solid in terms of playmaking, but he's he's pretty much get finding his groove. So shout out to Luke Kennard. Another player we gonna shout out is Marcus Morris, because Marcus Morris, like I said, another player like ever since the Lakers, like Marcus Morris really found his groove, because Morris in the previous games, like he was, uh, not it was, let's just say it was not pretty good, especially in the first 5 games, because Morris was pretty horrible. But ever since, Morris has been on a run, and that's a really, really good thing. So definitely shout out to Marcus Morris. Isaiah Hartenstein, he's he's also a really, really key factor for this game, because, like I said, he definitely kind of helped slow down the Portland Trailblazers momentum by, like he was solid, in terms of protecting the paint, and also on the offensive side too. He definitely brought some really good energy with his dunks and pretty much what he brings in general, like playmaking and all the other stuff. But one thing he definitely really needs to work on is um definitely in terms of fouling, because my man literally only played 14 minutes, but got fouled out. So that's that's probably a suspecting reason why Ty Lue does not really play Hartenstein much minutes, because I mean he plays him a significant amount of minutes, which is that's good, but it just he fouls out way too quick. Like that's one thing he really needs to control on. But again, we do have a lot of injuries. Nick Batum, Nick Batum has yet to return, which is that's one player that we're missing a lot. And then, last but not least, I want to shout out my man Brandon Boston. Brandon Boston has been nothing but special for us. My man was literally making all types of shots and pretty much making timely threes and pretty much slashing in the paint and making a nice shot, showing flashes of being a solid playmaker, having some good ball handling moves, and pretty much you can never go wrong with a guy like Brandon Boston Jr. So, and like I said, in the first games we've been seeing, like one of the biggest weaknesses is shot creation, and once Ty Lue started playing Brandon Boston, things have shown some promises, because had we not played Brandon Boston and we played Amir Coffey instead, we would have most definitely lost this game. And Brandon Boston, he's nothing but special. And I'm going to keep repeating this. You cannot trade Brandon Boston. You just cannot. Even if it's for a certified superstar, you just cannot do that. You just cannot, because Brandon Boston is going to be key for the Clippers to keep winning games and going down in the line once Kawhi and PG gets old. Brandon Boston is also definitely really key for for taking the Clippers to the promised land. And also, there is another player who I am really high on. It's really obvious, but I'm not gonna say no names. But like I said, Brandon Boston just been phenomenal, and I'm glad that Ty Lue has been realizing that Brandon Boston is needs to get his minutes. And my man literally scored 13 points in 20 minutes. Can you imagine if he played like a cool 30 minutes? He would have definitely probably at least got 20. Like, I'm not going to even lie to you. Like, switch Brandon Boston to the Houston Rockets and give the Clippers Jalen Green. I'm sure Brandon Boston is going to be a Rookie of the Year candidate because this man is a bucket. He's a bucket, and you cannot really guard this guy. Like, it's really tough to guard him. But, I mean, of course, he had some rookie mistakes. Of course, he cannot be perfect. But, like I said, he was definitely extremely key on the Clippers winning the games. And I'm starting to like what Ty Lue is doing with the rotation some types of way. But his rotation is still kind of flawed, I guess, because he did not play enough Serge Ibaka. But I'm assuming, because we all know Serge Ibaka histories of getting an injury, so I'm gonna give Ty Lue the benefit of the doubt here that that's why he chose to play Zubac uh, for a really long time. But again, Serge pretty much helped us a lot. Hardenstein did his thing. But I really love that Luke Kennard's in the starting lineup and Eric Bledsoe was on the bench because Bledsoe, I don't know, because he is really inconsistent. He is good one game and bad another game. And I'm glad Ty Lue's starting to see that because now Luke is starting and now he's getting his shots in and Brandon Boston is getting more minutes. And that's what I really love to see. Ty Lue splitting the pie. But that should pretty much wrap up this video. Yes, it was a clumsy win, but a win is a win. And let's hope the Clippers start getting a winning streak and have a great night, Clipper Nation. And as you all know, be sure to like, comment, or subscribe, or dislike if you disagree. And as y'all know, I'll do my best to chat with y'all in the comment section.